Hi guys, Tish here and welcome back to Tish Does Travel. At the end of last year, I put a vlog on this channel that I went foraging, and it's something that I got super into last year, finding out about what we can forage in the UK, what we can use it for, what we can eat, what we can't eat, and I find it so interesting that this year I've kind of tasked myself that each season I'm going to try and make something else homemade, and I'm going to share it on this channel. Now, the first thing for the start of the year, one of the easiest things that you can forage is this. And this is wild garlic. I don't know if you've ever seen this or come across this before. You may be able to smell it because even as you walk past it, it smells really strong of garlic, but this grows quite openly in woodland areas in the UK. So in today's video, I'm going to show you where you can find wild garlic, how you can forage it, and then I'm going to show you how to make it into wild pesto like this. And then you can even make stuff like this, which is wild pesto pinwheels. So if you want to find out how you can make your own garlic pesto at home, then please keep watching. And if you do like content like this, then you're in the right place. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. So first of all, I think I'll start by showing you where you can find wild garlic. Wild garlic is commonly found in damp, shaded areas of woodland, particularly near streams or ditches. It often grows in tight clumps, carpeting large stretches of the forest floor. Look for broad, spear-headed shaped leaves and later white flowers. You should be able to smell it right away, but if you're unsure, rub a leaf between your fingers and your thumb and there should be a strong smell of garlic. While wild garlic is easily recognisable, it does grow in abundance on the woodland floor, which means that other plants can easily grow amongst it and be masked by it. When collecting wild garlic, make sure you pick the leaves individually. Poisonous plants like Lords and Lady and Lily of the Valley often grow within wild garlic, so you want to make sure that you're only harvesting the wild garlic. The white flowers are also edible, so can be picked too, and if you look beneath the leaves there'll be flower pods, which actually have a wonderful use which I'll show you later. So make sure to pick a few of those too. Please only pick what you need and leave plenty for the wildlife. Today we'll be making wild garlic pesto, perfect for pastries and pastas, and we'll also be pickling the buds, and most simple of all, preparing some wild garlic butter. Starting with the most simple is the wild garlic infused butter. First off, once you've got your wild garlic home, give it a good wash in a bowl of water and leave to drain. How much of the leaves you add is really up to personal taste. As a rough guide, I like to suggest 30 to 60 grams of leaves per 200 grams of butter. For the butter that you see in this video, I used 50 grams of wild garlic and 200 grams of butter. Before starting, make sure your butter is really soft. Mine has been left out to soften for around an hour, but if you're really impatient, you can put it in the microwave for short bursts of 10 to 5 seconds. Roughly chop your wild garlic, then simply beat the wild garlic into the butter until thoroughly combined. If your butter is unsalted, you'll definitely need to add some salt. Use fine or flaky as preferred. Then I simply use some of the wooden utensils to roughly shape the butter back into the foil. I'll likely divide this up and freeze it as and when I need it. I find it makes the perfect garlic bread, spread and then baked onto some fresh baguette. Next step is a recipe which requires a few more ingredients, and that's wild garlic pesto. For one jar, you'll need 150 grams of wild garlic leaves. However, I wanted to make a couple of batches, so I doubled this. Begin with the same step as the butter. Rinse and thoroughly chop the wild garlic leaves. Into a blender, you add lemon zest, a few squeezes of juice, 50 grams per jar of pine nuts, which can be substituted for almonds, walnuts, cashews, and a few other types of nuts. An equal amount of parmesan, along with rapeseed oil, and my recipe said 150 millilitres, but I found that to be way too much, so simply do it by eye. This only needs to be roughly blitzed. I think I made mine too smooth, as with pesto, you'll often find the pine nuts still whole. Next time, I would blitz the leaves, parmesan, lemon juice and oil first, then adding the pine nuts last and roughly blitzing them to leave it slightly chunkier. Either way, you get this fantastically vibrant lime green wild pesto. If you top this with a little more oil, it should keep in the fridge for around 2 weeks. I decided to spread mine on some Just Roll puff pastry, add in a little more cheese to create pesto pinwheels, which were extremely yummy and worked really well at parties. I also added the pesto to some chicken and asparagus tagliatelle. Lastly, remember those flower buds? Well, they're perfect pickled. Wash your wild garlic buds in a bowl of cold water and then gently pat them dry with a clean tea towel. Combine vinegar, water, sugar and salt in a small saucepan and heat until the sugar and salt has dissolved. Add your peppercorns or other spices. I actually had a combination that came with a kit, and then leave it to cool. Pack your wild garlic buds tightly into your jar, leaving 1 centimetre at the top, and then pour the cooled pickling liquids over the buds. Press the pods down with a spoon and top up with some more pickling liquid if needed. Put the lid on and place the jar into the refrigerator for a couple of weeks. Let the flower buds pickle. Open and enjoy the pickled wild garlic buds in salads, on pizzas or pasta, or straight out of the jar. I like to eat them with freshly baked bread on hummus. Once you open them, your wild pickled garlic buds should last for a few months in the fridge, but they're best eaten in a couple of weeks. So there you have it. I'm so pleased that I've got lots of garlic pesto to keep them going, and then I've also got these pinwheels that I'm going to take to see my friends today, which I'm really excited about. There's something so satisfying about making your own food and drinks from things that you've found just foraged. It's not always the cheapest. Once you've bought a lot of the ingredients, it kind of works out the same, but it's a lot more satisfying. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know what's your favourite thing to forage, and later on in the year we'll definitely be doing elderflower, elderberries and mushrooms into the autumn. So if that sounds exciting, then make sure you hit the subscribe button and you don't miss those videos. I really hope you have enjoyed today's video. If you have, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up, and until next time guys, see you later.